So the much memed DC hero shooter is finally a reality, at least in the minds of the Redditors, because they have a new Reddit page called DC Allies. And as we can see here from the description, it's about a fictional superhero team-based PvP shooter from a universe where DC released it first. And you can see the level of cope right here in this first picture. Allies at 140k, Overwatch still at 30k, right? But Marvel's, oh god, our sweet Marvel's completely dead. I do find it hilarious that the art here is like very derivative of Marvel Rivals. Not that I'm trying to knock it. I think a DC hero shooter would be pretty welcome in the market, but given the track record of Warner Brothers games with their franchises recently, particularly multiverses, I don't know if we'll ever actually see that become playable, but WB Games did announce recently that they're going to reinvest into a lot of their franchises. However, one of my favorite shows from WB, Smiling Friends, just announced that they were no longer going to be making episodes as well, because the whole company is in turmoil right now. Who knows who's actually going to purchase that thing? And that'll probably determine if we see a game in the future. Let's explore the DC Allies Reddit page, see what gems they have waiting for us. Looking down, we got the Batman skin, of course. Batman would be one of the most played characters. I think Batman would probably have the same exact situation as Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals, right? So many bad players, but everyone who plays him has main character syndrome. I think the real charming part of this page too is everyone is speaking like it already exists. How do we feel about the new season 6.5 character Etrigan? Etrigan could be a pretty interesting character, right? I think it would have to have something to do with rhyming because that's his whole gimmick as a DC character. Maybe that he has to do 2 attacks in a row or something like that. I mean, we're theory crafting for a fake game, but come on guys, tell me your thoughts in the comments. What DC ally, what kits would you do for some of these heroes? This guy talking about the support strike. You guys remember the support strike? It seems like supports are always on strike in Marvel Rivals, unless triple support is the meta. I'm gonna be very interested to see how strategist mains react to the Season 7 changes, because we all know Gambit is gonna get nerfed into the ground. Sue Storm is probably going to get a nerf as well. And let's be real though, a lot of these JSA heroes, they would probably just wind up as alternate skins, right? Kind of like Lady Loki. But I could see the Hour Man, I could see this guy right here, I forget his name, Wildcat, and maybe Sandman over here. Black Manta as this guy's main. That's a very interesting proposition, because I know people talk about villains in Marvel Rivals a lot, and some people think that Loki is a villain, but if you dive into the lore of Marvel Rivals, there isn't an actual true villainous character in the game currently. It's still very much rivals, heroes, maybe some anti-heroes in there like Venom, but they're all definitively on the good side. So the very first villain to come to the game would be real interesting, you know? Black Manta being playable. Tell me which villain you would want in Marvel Rivals first. I like this post right here. You have this guy kind of theory crafting what classes they would be. Superman and Doomsday being tank. Obviously Superman would have to be a tank, but I think Wonder Woman would be a tank. Here's where we could take some clues from multiverses actually. Look at the DC characters they had in that game. Some of them were tanks, some of them were brawlers, some of them were wizards. And we could kind of just apply that over the whole Vanguard DPS support thing that we got going on in the hero shooter genre. I think the most important part, obviously, would be to have the core Justice League. So that means Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and then probably Aquaman and Martian Manhunter. And I know I said Aquaman a bit late there since he's kind of core, right? Aquaman's still kind of secondary in my mind. Red Robin as a strategist. You know, the very interesting thing about the Bat family is it's a lot like the Spider family, right? In that there's so many different heroes that are very similar. But I actually do want them to put more of the Spider-Men in the game. You got Gwen Stacy, you got Silk, you got Miles Morales, you got Carnage, you got Spider-Man 2099, and I think all of them could fill different roles. And it'd be very similar with the Bat family, so I like this guy. What this guy posted, Red Robin as a strategist. Of course, you have Super Gotten. There's so many skins you could do for Batman as well. He would be exactly like Spider-Man. This post caught my eye. Death leaked? Death being the character from the Sandman series, which was technically a Vertigo print, not a DC, though Vertigo belongs to DC. And I think that's actually pretty interesting as well, because Vertigo heroes were not straight superheroes. You know, you got your John Constantines, you have your Swamp Things. They're very atypical. So I don't know if they would be playable. I don't know if you could work a kit for Death. Though you probably could do John Constantine. He's had a lot of, recent material, movies and TV shows that make him more active, more like a aggressive superhero. I think a character like Death would serve better as like a seasonal arc villain, or something like the Collector, like we got going on in the museum arc in Marvel Rivals. So I had it sorted by hot, which I guess is the trending ones. Let's go ahead and sort it by top. Let's see what the best posts here are. First time download, this guy went through the trouble of making a shoop here. I appreciate this. 58 gigabytes, that's like about the size of Marvel Rivals now, so I can't even complain. Oh my god, we have actual content here. Let's see what this guy has to say. Let's respond. Oh, he's talking about the subreddit as well. I don't agree with it. You guys aren't losing your mind. DC doesn't feed you well enough. You guys get bad games over there in the Warner Bros. Universe. Truth be told, if the arrival of Marvel Rivals taught us anything, it's that the hero shooter genre needed competition. It wasn't dead. It was just like stagnant for almost a decade. Keep scrolling down a bit. We have some Lord icons too. A Bane Lord icon. I mean, this is definitely a straight rip of the Marvel Rivals system, but I like this. Do they even have a Lord system in Overwatch? This guy made an actual tier list. So of course there's gonna be a lot of heroes on this. See, here's the thing though. If you call it DC Allies, you have to be pretty firm that some villains shouldn't be playable. Like Brainiac, in what universe is Brainiac actually going to be friendly, playable, you know? And beyond that, how are you going to make this guy not OP? Because he's like a super Ultron. He's a space Ultron, just completely different level. You do have some interesting picks like the Condiment King, of course. This guy getting silly with it. That would be our Gwenpool. But maybe the problem is actually the name. Maybe DC Allies is another thing that's trying to rip Marvel Rivals a bit too much. I think it'd be better if it was like DC Crisis or something, because then you're drawing from the titles that DC already uses on their comics, but also it doesn't limit you to having to use heroes. It would be much easier to accept villains if this had a different name. Oh my god, we actually have memes too. DC Ally Slander. These people went through the trouble of freaking making little TikToks here. Let's see what we got. Superboy mains complaining that Supergirl has the exact same moveset. I think Supergirl would be more of a duelist. Oh yeah, do we only got shooting guys? Halo mains as soon as there's a possibility of being damaged. I don't even know who Halo is. Gorilla Grodd mains after ulting only to get the enemy Enchantress. Yeah, no, I think Gorilla Grodd would probably be like a Hulk type, or maybe more like a Thing type, because Gorilla Grodd does not demech. It's not a feature. If anything, the hero that demechs would probably be like Shazam or something. Raven mains on their way to press Q and be killed before they get a chance to say Azarath. I like this one. Just make her a Scarlet Witch clone. Hawkeye mains on the way to mercilessly dive the enemy backline. We're just pulling Pearl Harbor into this. I guess it's been long enough, right? We can meme Pearl Harbor. DC Allies community trying to will a game into existence. Isn't it true, man? And then Marvel Rivals slays it, of course, with the headbutt. Man-Bat mains watching their death replay after trying to fight on the ground. A Man-Bat as Angela. I could see that too. See what I'm saying with the Bat family? You even have, much like Spider-Man, you have the Man-Spider. Though that became a skin too, huh? Oh god, that would kind of suck if the Man-Bat wasn't playable. Mr. Freeze don't get classic skin. That is so pixelated, bro. I swear I have quality up. Everyone in the match when they hear Giganta ult voice line. That's like Times Square. Captain Cold mains trying to find him in the new patch notes. No love for Captain Cold out here. Captain Cold and the Fire Guy, though, think about it, from the Flash show, they would probably be a duo character. I would make them similar to Cloak and Dagger, honestly, because who's gonna pick those two characters when you have them next to powerhouses like the freaking Flash and Superman? And there's one more I want to leave you on, the straightest Ted Cord and Booster Gold players, because that would be the team up of the century. If this game ever gets made, hopefully they copy the synergy system. There is one more I wanted to include from YouTube, and this is from Dillbobs, and this is just amazing. Someone actually modded the skins over the MVP screens, so we can kind of see what it would look like if it was just a straight clone. The best heroes in Season 6. Batman is just Moon Knight, of course. Moon Knight is just Batman, let's be real here. She's Rogue. Wonder Woman is Rogue. That's a good pick. Joker as Gambit. Not really, but kinda, I guess. The Flash as Captain America. You know, the hard part about Flash would be super speed, right? Like, that's why I don't think Quicksilver will ever come to Marvel Rivals, but maybe with like short dashes, you could make it viable. You could make it like not annoying as hell to play against. But you know what? I think that's good for this exploration of the DC Allies subreddit. I really don't think this game will ever be a reality, but it is nice to imagine. Maybe we could will something like this into existence, but honestly, I don't know if Warner Bros. Has the talent in their studios to pull it off. It's just a matter of that company has been bought and sold multiple times, and every time you do that, really good people go on to greener pastures. But it's never impossible. I do want to note that Ed Boon, the creative lead of Mortal Kombat, recently did a poll on X about bringing back Killer Instinct, so it just leaves it up in the air that Warner Bros. Is open to making more games. I just don't know if they could do it fast enough or good enough. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos just like this one.